guys, so tonight we are doing chicken and dumplings. So first off, in my pan here I just have 8 cups of water and some chicken bouillon. You can pick this up relatively cheap, otherwise you could like boil your chicken bones and do fresh chicken stock that way too, but since I don't have any of that on hand, I'm just going to do it this way. About once a month I will bake a full chicken. All I do is put this in the oven and I let it just bake for basically the whole day on a Sunday, and then I shred it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just shredding up my chicken. So typically one chicken costs me about $6, and then I can typically get about 5 or 6 meals out of it. If you shred your meats, they'll last you so much further, and meat is typically one of the most expensive components of a meal. So definitely, if you're trying to save money, shred your meats, put them in soup, put them in one-pot dishes. And okay, so I've added so far 1.5 cups of shredded chicken. I've added a little bit of celery, a little bit of carrots. So with both those things, vegetables, if I'm not going to use them right away, I will pre-chop them and throw them in the freezer. That way they keep. And so like these have been in my freezer for like a month, and you're not even going to be able to tell because it's celery, and who cares. Same with my onions. I pre-chop these and I freeze them, so I've added a sprinkle of onion just for flavor. And then I buy this frozen chopped spinach, and I add it to dishes all the time. So one bag will last us about a month in several different recipes, whether it's pasta sauce or soups or, you know, rice, whatever it is. So I've added that, and then I've mixed up my dumplings. So for these I use flour, baking powder, and salt, and then water. I did about 1.5 cups of water, and I'll post the recipe here for you. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my mixture here to a boil. When it is boiling nicely, I'm going to add my noodles. So I use a rubber spatula, and I just get little chunks and I drop them right in. And about as soon as they hit the water, they are bubbling up and forming into noodles. So I'm just going to do that with my whole mixture here, and then we'll come back and show you the final product. Okay, so tonight for supper we are having brown rice. So this is 1 cup cooked up. We have 2 pork chops sliced up. So this is what I get for stir fry: broccoli, Italian, green beans, carrots, baby corn, water chestnuts, and red peppers. And then if I have like some extra peppers or some extra broccoli in the freezer, I'll add that too if I want a little bit more of that. So I make about half a bag of that, and then 2 pork chops all sliced. And then I also made 2 extra pork chops that we're going to use for another pork chop meal, but it's just easier for me to cook them all at once, and then I can freeze them and then thaw them out later, and they're already fully cooked, which saves me a ton of time. Okay, so tonight for supper we are having cheddar and broccoli potato soup. So it's just this little soup mix here. So I usually buy up a few packs of this. They're great, easy meals, and then I add ingredients to it. So this pack alone, if I made it just how the package says, I would get 4 servings. So this says to do 4 cups of water. I completely scrapped that. I use 6 cups of water. And then I add in my own ingredients. So I added in broccoli, I added in potatoes, I added in ham. You can add in other seasonings, whatever you need to do. But my main thing of making this tonight is because I have a bag of potatoes. I have about half a bag here that I bought last month that are growing eyes, and I want to use them up before they go bad. So my tip with this is don't let food go bad. we still end up throwing out food even though our grocery budget is so tiny and we're not, you know, buying up a bunch of stuff we don't need. We still end up throwing out food. And so, especially with fresh produce, you know, if it were like broccoli that's going bad or, you know, something like that I was worried about using up, I would chop it up and throw it in the freezer, right? But since it's potatoes, I haven't really found a good, easy way to freeze them. When I do, I'll let you know, but I haven't figured it out yet. And then the ham that I put in here is actually leftover ham from Christmas time. So my whole family came up for Christmas. We made a big ham. We had a ton of leftover, right? So obviously, I'm not just going to throw that out. I knew we wouldn't eat it all right away, so I'm going to throw it in the freezer, right? That's an obvious tip. Throw meat that you're not going to use right away, even if it's cooked, throw it back in the freezer because you can unthaw it. So anything you see in the freezer aisle, you know, they have ham dinners, they have lasagnas, you know, that have burger in them. They have chicken breasts, right, that are all pre-made that go back in the freezer. You can do that at home. So it's completely safe to throw ham back in the freezer after you've cooked it. But my tip with this is I'm not just going to throw that whole ham in the freezer. I'm going to package it up into reusable portions. So for this, you know, I just need a tiny chunk. So like in this case, I sectioned it off into 4 different chunks and I froze those bakes, right? Sometimes I will pre-chop some. So if I know we're probably going to do an egg bake or that we might be into omelets that month or something like that, I'll pre-chop some ham so that way when I want to make an omelet, I can just dig out that pre-chopped ham and throw it in the pan and thaw it right in the pan as I cook. Versus like trying to set it on the counter to defrost or soak it in water or throw it on the microwave to defrost. It really cuts down on that prep time. So don't just throw things in the freezer. Put them in the freezer how you're going to use them because that's going to promote you to use them if it's something that's easy and accessible. If I would have just thrown that whole ham in the freezer, I would look at it in 6 months and I would probably throw it out because I'm not going to defrost the whole ham to get a tiny little chunk just to throw some in a soup, right? So put things in the freezer how you're going to use them. This is what our soup is looking like right now. Ooh. And we have some garlic bread in the oven. So yeah, nice hearty soup. Not just a soup mix. Nice chunky soup for this cold weather. We're gonna go dig in. Okay, so I just got back from the grocery store, so I'm just going to show you guys quickly what I got to kind of round out the second half of the month for us. So we have some lettuce, we have some chocolate chips, we have some black beans as well as some pinto beans. So with that pulled pork that I made during the first week of the month, I took the extra of that and I put it in the freezer. So I'm going to do a soup with that along with these beans. And like I said, dried beans are super duper cheap. The recipe calls for a can of each, so I'll just measure that out, soak the beans, and then throw them in the soup. And I can probably get, I'd say, 4 soups out of this. And with beans, like, we can throw them in chili or whatever. It doesn't matter. We just kind of throw whatever beans we have on hand into that. So that works out and really cheap, really easy. And then we have 2 Gatorades. This was Brandon's request, so $1 a piece on those. And then we have a gallon of milk and some yogurt. We're always low on yogurt, it seems like. Also for a soup, we have ranch. We just got like a ton of snow, guys, so I'm doing a ton of soups right now, but that's the great thing about the winter time. You can do a ton of soups. They're really cheap. They're really easy. They really stretch your meats and things like that really far, so definitely taking advantage of that. Same thing here. We have chicken bouillon because I use that all up in soup, and I just like to have some on hand. Now, this I needed for a soup as well, so we have heavy whipping cream here. One of the local stores was having a sale on that, and then they usually do promotions where if you buy $10 worth of things, then you scan their app and you get something for free. So we did this. They had chicken tenders on sale for $2.99, and then they had fruit on sale. So we got some halos, we got some grapes there, and then since I spent over $2, I got Totino's pizza rolls for free. Not something I typically pick up, but just because I feel like there's not a lot of nutrition in here. It's just kind of like a little snack, and they go really fast. But Brandon will be happy to have these little snack foods on hand. Then a store here in town was also doing a sale on bananas, so I got 2 bunches of bananas. If I see a good sale on bananas, not that they're expensive in the first place, but with Everett we go through bananas pretty fast. So I'll do 1 bunch that's green and then get a yellow bunch too, and that typically works out for us. We use them up quick enough. I saw these Italian breads on sale, so we're going to freeze these up. So 50 cents, I got 2 loaves today. And then another store was doing a sale on pork roast. So what I'll do with this is like that stir fry I made the other day. It doesn't matter if that's pork loin or pork roast or whatever it is. I'm going to chop it up anyway for that dish. So these were on sale for 99 cents a pound, which I feel like is really, really good. I think they said it was like half off of what they usually do. So I just picked up 2 of them. I spent $4.50 on pork. Like I said, I'm going to chop it up. I'm going to freeze it. It's a good stock up thing, you know, to have when you can get them at these lower prices. So I got some of that. And then in total, I spent about $50 with everything all together with the 3 different stores. Kessler's, Ken's, and Walmart. So about $50 today. And then I get cents back on gas from a couple of the stores. So we have some of that. And then I forgot to tell you guys when I was explaining my little system here. So I don't carry cash all the time in my envelopes. Every once in a while I will, just because it's nice to have a visual. But these envelopes, each month I fill them with like the receipts. I mean, for certain things like giving, if I'm going to do like money for church or whatever, that'll be cash. But for like groceries and stuff, this is where I put my receipts. And then at the end of the month, I just kind of keep track of them. Some people will write on the end of the back of the envelopes. I put that on my monthly calendar, and that way I know when I'm planning out my shopping trip what I have remaining in my monthly budget. So these are for receipts, and then at the end of the month I have like a little accordion folder in my purse. I have one of these. I got this like in the Target dollar section, and it just has all these little tabs here. Hey guys, so I have some lasagna in the oven for supper tonight, and then I have just some garlic toast here waiting to go in from the loaves I bought today. And then I'm going to do some green beans as a side of that. So as I was digging out the green beans to prep them, I realized that I probably haven't addressed this. I think it's a pretty obvious, you know, tip, but I want to throw it out there as well. A lot of the stuff I buy says great value. So how I determine that is I take the prices of, say, the Green Giant pack and this pack and divide those prices by the ounces, right, to figure out what the best value is. Sometimes, like, those bigger brands will have coupons and things like that. If you have a coupon for something, I think that's great. Go ahead and use it. But once again, do the math and make sure it's really your best value, because sometimes I've had coupons and I've put that product back because this is still a better value. And With store brands, a professor at my school when I was in college told me this, that it's the same product. Sometimes they go down the conveyor belt together, and Green Giant slaps a label on something and Great Value slaps a label on something. The green beans are from the same field, they're the same product. It's just that they're packaged differently. Their labels look the same, and with having a bigger brand, they're able to charge a little bit more for it. So go ahead and do the math on those. It takes you a couple seconds in the store if it's not already on the label. Walmart, a lot of their products already have it on the label. Sometimes you might have to convert it and do it yourself because one product might say ounces and the other one says cups, right? So then you have to do the math yourself a little bit. But go ahead and do that. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. And nothing against coupons. I love coupons. I use coupons for things like toilet paper and paper towels and toothpaste, things that, I'm going to get those bigger brands on because I have preferences on those. But when it comes to food, I find that coupons for our family make me purchase things that I wouldn't normally purchase, right? And go out of my way to spend money on those, even if it is a little bit of money and it's a really good deal. They're things that we wouldn't normally use, so it's not really a necessity to me. So I find it more profitable for our family to do the math on things like this and just buy the store brand. Plus it saves me time from clipping those coupons and trying to find those coupons. Because if you've tried to be an extreme couponer, it's not easy. It's very hard. I don't know how you ladies do it, or gentlemen. But yeah, so go ahead and do the math when you're in the store. After you've bought a product a couple times, now I just know when I go into the store, this is my best value for green beans, and so this is what I buy. So you only have to do it a couple times if you have things that you buy routinely, but it's going to save you a lot of money over the course of a year. That's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys are finding these tips helpful and useful. If you are, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Hopefully we're able to lower your grocery budget just a little bit. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.